on the 6th. Yo, yo. Hey, somebody in if you want, give me a heads up in the chat that you can hear me before I get to rambling. Yo. If you in the chat, somebody type something that let me know that you can hear me, please. Be a sound check for me. You got me? Hey, what up, Sean? What's happening? Let me know you can hear me. Just say yay in the chat. We get this party started. We good? We good? All right, cool. That's what's up. All right, so tonight's subject matter, I just wanted to test this little nighttime flow on a Saturday night. Since it's Saturday, what better aspect of our own consciousness to get into than Saturn himself, because today is actually Saturday, the day of Saturn. And I'm analyzing this first. We have to understand that all of the planets are a mirror of our own internal psychological processes. Literally, all of them represent a faction of your own mind. We gotta grasp that. Like, all of them represent archetypal choices that human beings will make based upon, this choice being available to you inside of your own psyche. So it represents human behavior. Okay. So it's just the mirror. So Saturn is the one that gets the bad rap. All right. So like Noon said in the chat, Saturn equals Satan. The Christian theology is a vast book that deals with human psychology, human physiology, okay? Meaning our function. And then it also deals with cosmology, our relation with cosmic forces. Okay, so it represents states of consciousness, represents function, and then it also gives many references to our function within the system, within the all. Okay. So Saturn is known as Satan. It's known as the boogeyman. This is the god of restriction and fear and limitations. It gets all the negative connotations. In fact, it's so vicious that there's a term that they call Saturn, which is the Great Malefic, saying that its energy is so harsh, so cold. Because think about it, it rules Capricorn, which is the beginning of winter, For those of us that is north of the equator, it's the beginning of winter. So its energy is noted as being harsh, cold. It's cold and it's dry. It puts a damper on fun. So when you observe nature, cosmic law, you will see that one thing is for certain is we are solar beings. Our soul is connected to the sun. It is that. Solar plexus, you think that's a coincidence that, you know, that's named that? The external light of the sun fuels our earthly reality, because on this place we go through a process known as photosynthesis. We convert light into sugar, which is energy, which is one of our old joints is God is a sugar daddy. Real talk. He is. So when you get this whole Valentine's Day and sugar and sweet tooths, and sugar is associated with things of niceness and love, is because literally the light that is being projected to this reality gets converted over into sugars. So on the earthly plane, light is mandatory for life. I always say heartbeat, brainwave, that's light. You are light. So therefore, light is everything because it's consciousness at the core. Okay. Well, the light of the external sun, when spring comes in Aries, in this science, we noted that the sun is considered to be what's called exalted, meaning at this time of year, starting on March the 21st, the truth of the matter is it's 40 days after the equinox, but that's that zone. The earth and the sun is starting to get in a relationship where the angle of the sun is going to appear to be going higher and higher each day. So the sun will come up a little bit earlier and the day will outlast the night. The days will be longer. So when the sun goes into Aries, the first day of spring, we're having a great celebration. All right. Can you turn that down? Hey, turn that down. So we're having a great celebration. All right. And so hold on, y'all. 1 second here. Use these if you want to listen to it. So we're having a great celebration. So it's noted that the sun is exalted. The life giver is exalted in this particular position of Aries. Then when we go 4 signs later, Leo season right now, we say, shit, this is the middle of the summer. It's hot. This is the sun's dominion because the sun is associated with heat. So Aries is exaltation. It's second home because spring and life vegetation is coming back. And then summer, the sun is at its dominion. But then when we get to Libra, which happens to be exactly opposite of Aries, go back to your wall clock. If Aries is the first sign, number 1 on the wall clock, and Libra is the 7th sign, when you look at 135 on the wall clock, the little hand and big hand are directly opposite one another because 1 and 7 are opposite one another. So the ancients noted that when the sun gets in the fall season, the sun in Libra is considered to be at fall because now nature is about to start to regress. Okay, meaning sunlight after September 22nd, 23rd, up in that area, nighttime is more dominant. We have longer nights than we have days. Okay. Then when we get to Capricorn season, we're at the supreme pinnacle of the sun's, what we would call lowest declination. Okay. Literally. The longest period of nighttime hours. The coldness is here. This is Saturn's domain. But what a coincidence that when Saturn is in Libra, this is considered to be exalted. So Saturn is opposite the sun. Cosmically speaking, when Saturn's in Libra, it's considered to be exalted. But the sun doesn't do good here. The sun says, oh, wait a minute. This is the beginning of fall for me. My energy is falling down. The daylight is shrinking. It is falling. Okay? So Saturn says, I love this place. I'm exalted here. Okay? Strong placement. And then, of course, in Capricorn, Saturn is at home where the sun is at its, for lack of a better word, at its weakest position. Okay? So the Saturn and the sun have these battles. This is the classic sun and Satan theology that we hear. And it's talking about your place in the cosmos. All right? Now, everybody has the planet Saturn was located somewhere when you were born. It's a fact. It was somewhere. It had to be in the constellation. It was either Leo, Virgo, Sag, wherever. It was somewhere. On average, it takes about 2.5 years to go through a zodiac sign. Then it moves to the next sign. So I'm going to put you up on game because Saturn is the... Every 7 years, let's go to our infamous wall clock model in our head because we should know that wall clock. If Saturn is at 12 o'clock today, in 7 years, on average, it'd be at 3 o'clock. And then another 7 years, which is 14, it'd be at 6 o'clock. And then when you turn 21 years old, then it's at 9 o'clock. And then around 28 to 30, it's back at 12. So on average of 28 to 30 years, it go full circle. This is why right now you can Google, open up a window and Google 7-year itch. Wikipedia knows it. The information is out there. It has already been observed that the 7-year period is a severe testing period for relationships. It's there. What a coincidence that if the relationship starts when it's at 12 o'clock in 7 years, it's at 3 o'clock. So if you're dealing with a relationship that's somebody 7 years older than you, 14 years older than you, 21 years older than you, you're starting to get into the cougar zone. 28, 30 years, you're definitely in the cougar zone at that point. Then their Saturn could be, especially 7, 14, and 21 age gaps, their Saturn could be in a strenuous position to yours, and this is going to produce some energy that Saturn represents. So Saturn represents on the negative scale, because remember, all energies have a polarity. You have a positive pole, and then you're going to have a negative pole. So the negative pole of Saturn is going to be the restriction. It's going to be the fear. It's going to be the karma. It's going to be the limitations. It's going to be the debt. It's even to a degree has been associated with poverty. Tonight, I want to change that because I can show you an observation that that's not true. And I just give it to you now so I don't forget. That 69 era, 68, 69 era of Puff Daddy and Jay-Z, they were born, Dame Dash too, they were born with Saturn and Taurus. These are billion-dollar players. So I don't want to hear that Saturn represents poverty. Because on the high side of the scale is success, it's repetition, it's hard work, it's crystallization, meaning get out your head and put some form to it. Show me. Saturn is literally from Missouri. Show me. You don't want to hypothesize and get all cute with philosophies and nope, ain't about that. Build it and let's see. Okay, so that's Saturn. So I'm going to say, since Saturn represents in your body, it is your bones, it is your skin, it is your hair, because these are the things that give you structure. Okay, literally, it governs the bones, the teeth, hair, skin, nails. That's Saturn. All right. I'm gonna take. Look, if the sun represents vitality, because it's life force energy. And then if you got Saturn square sun or Saturn opposed sun, or even Saturn in the sky was in the same alignment with the sun where you were born, then you can have vitality issues, because Saturn represents limitation and restriction, and the sun is total opposite. It's a life giver. You see what I'm saying? So this oxymoron takes place, but ultimately it's inside of you. Okay? All right. And so Saturn represents career, because it rules what's known as the MC on your birth chart. This is known as the midhaven. This is the southern portion of the sky. So you got to remember that right now, what's visible in the nighttime sky from east to west is 6 zodiac constellations. The other 6 you can't see because the earth is turned away from them. So you don't see zodiac signs in the north region of the sky. You don't see that. You see the North Star, Draco. You see the northern constellations. This is how the slaves are able to get free, by following the North Star. They wasn't following zodiac signs to get free. They was going all the way to the top, because it appears as if, we call them circumpolar, these stars don't change. Their position is pretty much locked in. So you can just follow the North Star at night and you're good to go. Okay. So for us with zodiac signs, only 6 are quote unquote what appears to be outside or above your head. And then every 2 hours they keep rotating. So 12 hours later, the other 6 is up. Okay. So technically, these areas of space, each zodiac sign naturally rules an area of space. But since this thing is a combination lock and the earth keeps spinning, then it gives the illusion that the signs keep moving on different points of space. So then the question becomes, then what is the region of space that is Saturn's in Capricorn? Because those two are married. And the answer to that will be your midhaven. This is the highest pinnacle in your chart, the MC. This is your area of success, because this is said to be career, your ambition, your reputation, authoritative energy. This is where you come into authority of yourself, because the energy is in the south, the highest portion of the sky. Okay, so now you are the junior warden, for those of you who may know what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the beauty of the day, because at 12 noon on average, the sun appears to be in the southern region of the sky at its zenith, meaning its highest position in the sky. Anything after the south, the energy starts to decline as it goes towards the west, because energy appears to set in the west. Yes? Yes. All right. So the southern portion of the sky is your career zone. This is the 10th house. So although when you're born, Saturn, who naturally rules this, you got to remember that these gods are always moving. These planets, they're in motion. They're not right there when you're born. They may have been over here or over here. So Saturn's energy, wherever it is still going to bring what he represents. He represents his set of Capricorn. His set is success, hard work, cut the bullshit, let's get to it. This is why it is known as the Saturn return. At 28 to 30 years old, life feels like shit if you have not made the proper decisions. It ain't Saturn doing it to you. It's the decisions that you made. And all of a sudden you look up, you 30 and you like, yo, I'm still on my mama couch. I'm still renting rooms with my homeboy and I'm 30 years old. Like, this life sucks now because you're not in your 20s no more. You start to go through these stages of evolution. Okay. So the Saturn return is usually a checkup time based upon our own decisions that we have made. Facts. Karma is more or less of action. Each action always creates a reaction. So therefore, every action is based upon cause and effect. That's a fact. Okay. Saturn is the great teacher. Him and Jupiter, for real, are the great teachers of the cosmos. Okay. Saturn is the one that says it's the aspect of your own psyche that holds yourself back from you achieving the next level. And here's the kicker. It is because you are afraid, because this energy represents fear. We are so afraid of success, because Saturn represents success, that we limit ourselves. And I can get into plenty of examples on this thing. I posted something earlier where I said an idea and a goal are not the same thing. When I survey people, when I've consulted for years, and I see in the psychology, do you want to be successful? Do you want to be financially rich? You like the idea of it, but then let's see what your goal is to obtain it, and it don't exist. You stuck like Chuck when it comes to the goal. So we are hooked on ideas, but we're not hooked on goals. And Saturn is all about goals. It's all about goals. This is how you climb to the top. Saturn is really the crown, because if it represents the crown in the sky, then this is where you probably start to see in some literature when they get with chakra systems, then Saturn could be the one at the top of the head. Okay? Because it represents the top of the sky. That's a fact. That's his zone. All right? So whatever this planet is when you're born, guess what? That's going to show you the area where, because remember, Saturn represents life lessons. Yes? Saturn is life lessons. So if Saturn is life lessons, then whatever that planet is located when you're born is going to give you direct insight into which you must overcome in this lifetime. This is your checkup point. Pay attention to the diagram of the seven heavens. The seven heavens, meaning on Earth, you have seven visible planets with the naked eye. The sun, we're going to count the sun as because it's an external body. So let's just count the sun as one. The moon, Mercury, you can see. Okay. You can see Venus. You can see Mars. You can see Jupiter. You can see Saturn. There goes seven. Anything past Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, you don't see. You can't see. It's too far. So Saturn is the gatekeeper between your personal world of these seven heavens, okay, and you getting into the outer realm. Now we got to really pay attention to this solar system diagram, because it's going to point to the evolution of your soul. If Saturn is the gatekeeper to the outer realms, then what goes beyond Saturn? Uranus, which is intuition, astrology. It's the inventor, right? It's like, this is like the divine telepathic encoder. Where does the idea come from? So it's all about inventions, right? Then you're going to have Neptune, which is all about clairvoyant energy, the ability to see the future. On the highest level, it is a psychic faculty. And I don't play with that, because that's the 12th grade. Neptune, Pisces, 12th house is the 12th grade. That seals up the will. And when that energy is active, it has the ability to perceive through dream, through something, some form of vision. It has the ability to perceive what's about to happen in our earth time reality before it manifests. Westside Rockefeller, I appreciate you, man. All right. That's a true story, though. So that ain't to be played with. And then Pluto represents the energy of transmutation. Yes? Pluto is how you take a negative situation and literally alchemize it and turn it positive. Okay? And so before you even get into these lofty psychic transmutative sciences, you must master everything before those. That's why Saturn is the gatekeeper. And what has happened in the age of Aquarius, which in ancient times, this is Saturn rules Aquarius and Uranus rules Aquarius. So now it's more or less a, well, we give it more Uranus than we do Saturn, because Uranus wasn't, discovered until like what? I don't know, 1834, if I'm not mistaken, right? So then we say, okay, well, it's really Uranus. Okay, cool. But if you go with the cosmic law and we let Saturn have some type of positioning here, because it's definitely Aquarius is definitely Uranus, but you can't go all the way Uranus because shit will be crazy. Uranus don't know order. It's utter chaos. But it's only utter chaos when the status quo of Saturn in structure has been too suppressive, because Saturn's nature will suppress and hold on to things. So wherever Saturn is located at, this is going to show you where your success lies, because your lesson is here. Your karma is here as well. This is one of the ways to determine karma. I'm going to do a webinar. When is that? I think in November, that we're going to get into past lives and karma and really go in. But that's a webinar, not a YouTube joint. But you'll get the information for it so you can attend it. So Saturn represents your career line. Now, I know from my own experience that I said in yesterday's video when we dealt with Venus retrograde that's coming, that we are scattered light beings. This is the truth. What I mean by scattered light, like I said, these constellations are forever moving. So Saturn right now in the sky may not be in the southern portion of the sky where it naturally belongs. Okay, it can be anywhere else. So we're scattered light. The universal rulers of the South, Saturn, is now somewhere else in somebody else's dominion, or what we will call house. But he's still going to bring his energy because he is who he is. Now, Saturn in the sky as we speak right now is at home in Capricorn. This is very important because it will not be here again until another 28 to 30 years. Some of us may not even be here to see it. It's just a reality. So when the planet is at home, it is dignified, it is strong. This gives us a cosmic download for us to be able to tap into its energy more efficiently at this time, because it's at home. It's having a homecoming. It's a party. And this party is going to last from now to 2020. And somewhere in 2020, like March, it'll go into Aquarius, but then it's going to retrograde back and it will officially be back in Aquarius or leave Capricorn December of 2020, which I'm going to have to do a whole nother video on, because the 2020 alignment and election is potentially going to be transformative. I want to say nice words with this, because you're going to have Pluto's in Cap, Jupiter going to come, and Saturn all going to be aligned. And when those two, especially when Pluto and Saturn get together, civilizations change drastically. They usually come tumbling down. With that tumbling down look like, that is to be defined by the level of consciousness of the participants, the citizens. Okay? So anyway, this is a time for us to really Rod the goat. Oh, the brother satanic. He said Rod the goat. Oh, yeah, I know that scares the shit out of people. It's so amazing how fragile the human mind is. A goat will scare you because you think a group of white people. Ooh, here it is. I'm gonna get y'all. I'm gonna scare y'all niggas tonight. Here it is. The goat. Right? Oh no, it's like this. The goat. Yeah. Come on, man. We've already said that one, the goat is a constellation. Two, the goat is the womb. It's the vaginal canal spreads out into the goat ears, the fallopian tubes holding the eggs. It's inside of you. All these energies are inside of you. Nature is just a replica of you. So when you start looking at certain foods, they look like body parts. The broccoli can look like the brain, and we can just keep on going on and on, right? So you want to tap into this energy by knowing where Saturn was at when you were born. Very important to understand this, especially the house. I'm not concerned about the sign. The house that is in. What's the house? The house is the region of space. Was it in the southern portion of the sky? Because that's called the 10th house. That's career. Was it in the second house? Was it in the first house? The sixth house? What house was it in? Because that's your lesson. You're gonna have to really dig into, because the house represents an area of your life. So you're gonna have to dig into that. You're gonna have to really dig into that. Because now what happens is these planets are super smart, and space is intelligent. It has memory. So therefore, whatever Saturn was at when you were born, by it being in Capricorn right now, it wants to give you this alley-oop. It's electrical transmission through the cosmos is predicated upon, because remember, it represents your bones. So you got to ask this. Here's the question y'all got to ask, man. And I've done this. If I say Charlemagne, the god, this is a true story. I got the videos to prove it. Charlemagne, the god, you have female karma. In fact, you have Bill Cosby energy too. I said this in the video. You can scroll in these videos. If you don't know, scroll in these videos. Hit the playlist that says celebrity news and celebrity deaths. Hit that playlist. Scroll down, look for the video that I did on Charlemagne called Charlemagne and Female Karma. Okay? In that video, I tell him you got female karma and low-key Bill Cosby energy too. This is last year that I told him this in 2017. Exactly to the day, a year later, this year in 2018, is when this news came out that, hey, this woman says Charlemagne raped me at a party and I want to sue him now, right? This is a true story. Now, here's the question. I'm looking at something called a birth chart, which is a record, a past record. Here's the key of where the planets was, keyword was, when he was born. They were not in the same position right now in our reality. But I do know that based upon me looking at something else, something's going to come and trigger that location, as if whether a planet comes in the same region of space or is directly opposite it doesn't matter. Something is going to come and trigger that location that I'm looking at. Here's my point. How did the energy find you? Out of 8 billion people on Earth, how did it find you? That's the question. It found you because you are it. Everybody's signal, everybody got their own cells, so everybody got their own cell signature. You got your own cellular signature, just like you got your own cell phone number. Just like you got your own iris, your own fingerprint, your own you got your own cellular energies. And these planets have your number. All right, they got your number. So what you don't know is when that connection is going to come through, and somebody else that's vibing to your frequency is going to pick up that signal and play their part and come into your life. Okay? So what we need to do is let's deal with Saturn being at home from now to December of 2020. We got a good 2-year window, right? What's that? 2 years and 4 months. We got a 2-year window where we really need to be knocking down some hardcore physical goals. Unless you got Saturn in Pisces or Saturn in the 12th house, you get a pass. You can stay off in la la land and fuck around with imagination and spiritual gummy mati. You can do all that and not get physical, because Saturn is very physical, very physical. It wants you to build things. Okay. So these next 2.5 years, what are you to build? That's the question. You are to build that in which the planet is located at. That's your cosmic agreement. That's what you decided to do. Particularly, I want to pay attention to the house, but you can roll with the sign as well, because the sign gives it goes like this. The planet is what the energy is. Let's just call it success, or let's call it karma and hard lessons if you want to deny what your agreement is. You got a choice. You want the red or the blue pill. You can play this game if you want to, but you're going to make a choice. And you not making the choice is making the choice of not making a choice. I want you to understand that too. Okay? So I don't care if ignorance is of no excuse of the law. That's a maxim. The law don't care if you don't know. It is clear the law don't care. Hurricanes don't care about babies. Man law don't care if you're ignorant and you don't know what's going on. Clearly, they don't care. Okay? So you can have success and you can have the karma and the hardships if you don't want to go through it. All right? Or you can have both at the same time. Oftentimes we're going to get both. All right? Because we're in the world of duality. So the planet is what it is. We just define what it is. High side, success, hard work, discipline. Low side, stress, karma, life ain't fair, it's strenuous. So the planet is what it is. The sign that it's in, or in front of, or in alignment with, shows you how it will take place. So Saturn and Leo could be children, or creativeness. Okay, fun. Then the house, the portion of the sky, because right now it's dark everywhere in the United States. For the most part, it's dark on the East Coast. So for the East Coast, we don't see the sun, but my people out west, they got sunlight. You see what I'm saying? So the sun ain't on the eastern portion of the sky for us. It ain't in the south, and it ain't in the west. It's somewhere in the west/northern region of the sky going north for us. So the sun, if you're born right now on the East Coast, the sun could be in the 6th house. But those over there out west, it's only like 640. The sun is in the, let's just call it the 8th house. It's not even setting yet. It's not even all the way due west. So these are different locations. So now the house shows you where in your life is this going to come out. So the planet is what it is. The sign is how it's going. What can manifest in a sense, or how it's going to manifest. And then the sign, the house is where it's going to manifest at. All right. So now it's a combination lock. It's 1 + 1 + 1. And bingo, you got the answer. This is the easiest thing to understand. I promise you it is. This science is so easy. I can teach it to a baby. It's easy because it's just this. Saturn represents all planets going to represent two things, a positive pole and a negative pole. You just got to remember the attributes. It's always going to bring what it is. So Saturn is always going to be career, success, hard work, and then the karma, hard lessons, and things of that nature on the low side. All right. And so now let's talk about the houses. So here's a question, right? And so then you're saying, well, if I got Saturn in the 11th house, Ernest got it in the second house, I'm with you in the second. Then the 11th house is friendships. That's group of people. That's technology. There's something about groups of people and technology that needs to have some type of form and crystallization to. Remember, Saturn's going to give you your hardest shit. You don't want to, we try to avoid it and escape it. But you can't escape nothing in this realm. Not like that. Not like that. Especially if it is, see, because wherever your planet's at, it's going to show you where activity has to take place, which means it's really a desire. Something to be activated. So the 11th house is going to be groups and friends. So for these next 2 years that Saturn is in Capricorn, you need to focus on technology and groups of people, social groups. The 11th house is like Red Cross. It's about being a part of a group that is helping humanity advance itself, some shape, form, or fashion. Now, how you do it, whether it's the Red Cross or whether it's some type of charitable event or whether it's you creating a technology company or you investing in Bitcoin technology, whatever it is, because you got technology and groups of people, you need to find it and marry it. The second house, this is time for you to get on your paper. This is what got me roused up because I got Saturn in the second. And now that, and what happened is, I'm telling you, it's like, oh, right when Saturn hit Capricorn, the way my chart is set up, imagine a wall clock. 3 o'clock on the wall clock is known as the western portion of the sky. That's the descendant. But what happens is, this is why you live in the optical illusion. You got to be real careful with this thing. On our daily observation of a planet, the sun comes up in the east, and I'm always pointing at the directions in my house, right? The sun comes up in the east, and then it sets in the west. Facts. So on the wall clock, that looked like the sun come up at 9 o'clock and it sets at 3 o'clock. But the planets are moving counterclockwise. So let's just call 3 o'clock position, Capricorn constellation was right there. That means at 4 o'clock, that is going to be Sagittarius, and Saturn, when he's moving up, when any planet gets to your 7th house cusp, it is now starting to rise in your chart, and it's going counterclockwise because that's how the planets are going. If you understand the Earth's orientation, if you're facing, look at this. In the morning, you're facing the east. Then all of a sudden, the energy is to your right, which is the south. So which way are you traveling since the Earth is traveling? The Earth is swirling in a counterclockwise position to give the illusion that it's here. Oh, now it's here, and now it's over there, called east, south, and north. So we're spinning in a counterclockwise position through space. So when these planets come up at 3 o'clock, it is just now starting to get above the horizon line. Draw a line from 9 to 3. 9 o'clock is the east. That's your rising sign. 3 o'clock is the DC, which is your relationship sign. So for me, Saturn got here, it's starting to rise because it's hitting a critical point. These points, your cross, your celestial cross called your rising sign, called the sign in the west, your DC, which rules your relationships and your marriages. The sign in the south, the top, which represents your career, and the sign in the north, the bottom, represents your home life. These are the 4 critical points that you must address. And when the planet is on what we call these angles, these points of the cross, this shit is more intense than the planet in alignment with another planet. Real talk. So now that Saturn is at home, again, you have to tap into that house where it was when you were born. So if it's in the second house to answer the question, then it's time for you to focus on your finances. Libra means a partnership. So then it's either a marriage or it's a business relationship, because it's partnerships that needs to be totally focused on financial gain for the next 2 years. So what I call it, 2 years and what was it? 4 months. All right. So here's a question. Pull up your chart. If you don't know how to do it, better hurry up. Open up a window, go to astro.com. It's free. And we want to take a look at where's the boogeyman? Where's Saturn? Where's that part of you that says, yo, I want to do this to be successful. I want to work hard at this to be successful. This is why when I'm looking back at flashback in my life and I'm like, yo, this explains why at 19, I was in mutual funds at 19. Seriously, like I was literally invested in 19. Wall Street Journal, mutual fund magazines coming to the house, know how to read it. I'm in Vanguard Index 500 funds. I know what the index does. It's funds that's put together to track the market so you can't lose. So we got money in blue chips, a little bit of money in this, and it's kind of what you would call diversified. So wherever the market goes, it goes so you don't lose in a sense, right? It was all into that stuff. And then another portion of me came online, my 8th house stellium, which was the strip club. That came online. And so then not knowing that that was money too, because I played it from the financial perspective of it. My experience in that game is totally different. I was not the customer. I wasn't the consumer. But the immaturity of my own level of awareness wasn't there to bridge the gap. You see what I'm saying? And then it all comes full circle when I'm looking back like, oh, okay, nigga, you missed it. That you were supposed to build in investments and do things like that. You see what I'm saying? So where is it for you? Saturn in the 6th. Saturn in the 6th conjunct the sun. And you see why he called himself Dark Truth? Like look at that. Look. Saturn in the 6th house is health. The sun, so Saturn and Sun are together. That's why he said conjoin. And then he calls himself Dark Truth because Saturn represents the darkness because it's wintertime. Light has receded. So his own light, he feels like somewhere in this person's psychology, Dark Truth in the chat, they feel like that darkness is the truth. They relate to darkness. Why? Because the planet of darkness is exactly in the same alignment with the planet of light. His name ain't Light Truth. His name is Dark Truth. You see what I'm saying? But Saturn in the 6th, you want to pay attention to your health and make sure that you're doing your best because the 6th house deals with health. Saturn is also known as chronic ailments. So when if we're dealing with the sun can be the heart, vitality, circulatory system. You want to do things to enhance the circulatory system to get the blood flowing. Cardio is the key here with the sun in the 6th. But on another scale, that's a workaholic and that's a boss. That's a supervisor. That's somebody that's their own boss right there. So that's great energy for you to focus on. Okay, what are you doing in your day-to-day job? Because the 6th house is day-to-day work. So where's that career energy at for you as it pertains to day-to-day energy? Because you're supposed to be at the top of the totem pole. Because you represent the wonderful blend of the duality, hence dark truth. Truth has always been considered to be light, not darkness. So you married the two principles. So you have to do that inside of your work, career, and your own personal health as well. All right. All right. And so in the 8th. So Saturn in the 8th in Virgo. Woo. So Saturn in the 8th. That could definitely be what we would call sexual karma. So you got to be careful here because Saturn carries a malefic energy. So for women, if it's associated with the 8th, that could be some form of abuse. But now I'm gonna get into something because a lot of people don't be ready for that conversation, but I ain't here for that, man. I'm here just to get a truth. and what's going on with this thing of cause and effect. The question is, when we have these experiences, if I can look at a child, or I can look at you, and I'm not saying you personally, but let's just say the person in the chat, I'm just saying in general, if I can look at a person and say, oh, better be careful because this person can experience some type of a sexual abuse. And it happened to you as a grown person or it happened to you as a kid. I'm just looking at the information of a chart. It don't matter when. The law don't care about your age. I don't care about that. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about none of that. The question is, how did it find you? That's all. That's the question that you have to ask. If somebody can foretell that this will happen and that stuff happens, the question is, how did that event find the person? And I said it earlier. See, the only thing that makes this thing make sense when you start dealing with abuse and shit that you don't like, bad luck and horrible times, the only thing that starts to make sense is your own karma. What have you done? And it don't have to be now. It could be in this past, or it really can stem from a past life. The eighth house is past. The eighth house is death. The eighth house is past lives. The eighth house is death and regeneration. Karma, Saturn here is going to give you some insight about something. This also makes you a great investor because it's other people's money. But also Saturn can represent restrictions and limitation, in the eighth house is inheritance. Somebody can die and leave you money. It's going to be a problem getting to it. So usually when I see this, I'm telling people, you absolutely need to make sure that anything, if your parents got you in the will with inheritances and stuff like that, you want to make sure that everything is up to date, because there can be some type of, there can just be some type of restriction, some type of issue of you getting to it. Saturn demands that you take care of business, man, day in and day out. It don't want to, this ain't time for laziness here, because a part of this energy is that, like, okay, take your time, be lethargic, hold on, like, okay, procrastinate, okay. But then when that procrastination adds up, then it's like, oh shit, where have I been? What have I been doing? That's what I'm telling people now. Like at some point, like finances is a part of the system. If Earth is a program, and it most certainly is, in all things, these frequencies can be defined by zodiac signs, then money, spirituality, health, children, love, fun, career, family, all of these things are a part of the program. Some things are more challenging than others, sure. But what I have seen is when we get in this kind of information, we feel like we have to abandon and hate the financial aspect of physicality, and then we develop this perception where we start to go backwards. If man is thought and all things are thought, then we have the ability to upgrade the matrix because we are the programmer. You have to really admire the vastness of the human being, because we can write code, we can write program. In other words, I always say this. At the Million Man March in 1987, there was a harmonic convergence led by Dr. Jose Arguelles, peace be upon him, who's no longer here in this form, where people all over the earth were meditating on sacred spots to bring the earth into some form of harmony. The problem back then in 87 was niggas wasn't there. The collective consciousness of niggas wasn't in the 80s. Man, the 80s, you know what you was doing in the 80s? Amen. In the 80s, you ain't thinking about no damn mounds and pyramids, and you ain't thinking like that. Not the majority of the people. So what we would call the activating ingredient of melanated beings and just a branch of the lost tribe was missing from the equation. If you do that now in Washington, D.C., I keep saying it, and you use the Washington Monument as an antenna to send the signal out, like Muslims go and like literally go to the Kaaba and they circle it and they create a vortex of energy, right? If you do that same thing with one intention and we just say, turn the sky purple, and we start thinking about turning the sky purple collectively like that, I promise you the sky is going to turn purple. And even if it don't do it on that day, because the signal has to be sent, things have to get configured in the quantum vastness of the computer called the universe. Things have to compute it and then send the signal back. All right. It's going to be a purple sky somewhere for the world to see a divine sign of what you just sent. It's going to happen. My point of saying that is we're at the point of, you got to look at the earth like a brain. You got in the brain, you got hemispheres. The right hemisphere is said to be your more eccentric, more artistic, musical, spiritual side. And then the left side wants to deal with your information and analytics. Well, the earth, when you look at a globe, the right side, the eastern side is what? Spiritual. That's China, India, Africa. All your philosophies is coming out of that region over there, right? So just like your brain, the right side is your mystical side. When you look at a map of the earth, the right side, the eastern side, is the spiritual side. The left side is the side of technology and analytics and data and inventions and materialization. That's the United States side, the Western side. So the West side gets all of this information from the East side, and everybody on the East side is coming over to the West side so they can get on to this good old, get to the money, right? So as humanity, both sides have to learn how to mentally create Pangea, meaning the East merges back with the West and vice versa, and all the continents are connected, meaning your brain is connected. I'm not talking about the physical continents itself. It's an allegory, but when you look at the earth and understand, this is something that can take place within your own mind. All right? So we are not supposed to abandon this, and you can do whatever you want to do because it's all a different aspect of yourself. But if everything is holistic, how you going to get away from it when it's in your body anyway? Aries is the head all the way down to Taurus is your throat. And then this shit represents bodily systems. And, we can just keep on going all the way down the energies inside of you. So how are you going to holistically abandon and get rid of one and say that the money is bad because the United States government ain't worth shit? I'm just going to pick on that, right? It don't work that way. You're at the point now where you can evolve all of it and make it one whole piece. And yeah, that means, man, it just means operating within 12 ministries in a sense. Really 7 can sum it all the way up. Because again, remember when we got into this whole thing yesterday on the Venus went retrograde, I showed you how the 12 signs are ruled by historically 7 planets, but each planet and sign is ruled by an element. So it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller to get back to the one source called thought, called God, called consciousness, which is you. So you don't have to play this scattered game and keep going further. Oh, what do the asteroids mean? I'm not going past plan. I don't feel like calculating the asteroids and all this other stuff because it's going to keep taking you further away out from source. But there's no such thing as that if you understand that everything is source. But it takes a certain understanding to start dealing with that. Because then you start thinking that it's everything outside of you, not realizing that it is you and the decisions that you're making. The sun can give a suggestion that it's hot as hell this time of year. You may not want to wear your triple fat goose. You may want to wear your shorts and a tank top today. It's a suggestion, but you don't have to do it. But I think this would be better for you. Did the sun make me do it? Or is it a suggestion there that says, no, I'm going to go ahead and I think this would be best for me. You have to make a decision. So with Saturn is the decision maker, you have to make a decision to be successful, but successful in what? All right. So Randy Luna, where do you go for the house? All I see is Saturn is 28 degrees Aquarius. Who is 28 Aquarius? I'm 2759. 1 solar minute off from 28. All right. So look in the inner portion of the wheel. If you're on astro.com, look on the inner portion of the wheel. You're going to see house numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to look like slices of pizza. Look in that center portion of the wheel and you're going to see a number, and that's going to tell you where it's at. All right. So anybody else got it somewhere? It's Saturn in the 12th. Saturn in the 12th. Learning spirituality, learning what I call transcendental meditation, consciousness. How you can also potentially have something to do with working in institutions, hospitals, jails. Do not fuck around with stuff that's illegal with Saturn in the 12th, especially drugs, because drugs and alcohol is the 12th house, but Saturn represents government and authority. This is a no-no. See, the 12th house is secret enemies, and the 12th, and then the Saturn is the government. So if you ever get involved in certain shit, then it'll be a secret indictment on you. Motherfucker wear a wire on you. So you don't have the luck to do the deceptive thing when you have Saturn in the 12th house. So you got to play by the book. And the biggest book that you can play here is learning how to materialize and learning how to materialize techniques and things that will help you expand what I call transcendental consciousness. And you also can deal with 12th house becomes musical and inspirational. It wants to escape and it wants to go off to the mountaintop and be alone and recharge type of thing. So it's not necessarily a physical thing when you're dealing with the 12th house. Excuse me. That's why I said earlier, if it's 12th house or Pisces, you get a pass to go off and, do the spiritual thing and whatnot. But you could work in asylums, or we just call it institutions and whatnot. All right, cool. So the 5th house, Saturn in the 5th, man. It's not necessarily good for gambling. May not necessarily be the luckiest person on the gamble tip. It also could be. Watch this. I wouldn't be surprised, Randy, if you don't have no children. But that can be, that can be overcame depending on what the aspects of Saturn is, because Saturn is no limitations. Your children, if you do have children, then your children are going to be burdensome to a degree. But the goal here is the goal would be to work, or you have somebody else info. So the goal would be to work, either work with children in a sense, or definitely setting them up so they can be successful. And then your energy will come off like, oh, he was hard and he was shrewd. He didn't necessarily spend quality time with them. Like, that's the same thing as having Saturn and Leo, right? And so I got Saturn and Leo. All right. And so, like, this my person here, Love and Life, got Saturn and Leo. So usually Saturn and Leo can come off like the dad wasn't there. Like my dad, see, Saturn is responsibility. It's the parent that was responsible. So my dad was the one that bared the responsibility, but Leo is fun and Saturn is no. So we didn't know fun. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know fun. What was fun? Fun was, all right, on Sundays, he took us to the arcade, me and my cousins to the arcade on Sunday. But all throughout the week and even on Sunday, he was working. Sunday, he was working on cars on the weekend for extra money. But he'd give us that little Sunday little run, and maybe we'd go out and he'd throw the football on Sunday. But like, that was it. It was work. Get to the paper because I'm taking care of things. So Saturn and Leo can have a little damper on fun. Saturn in the fifth house can have a little damper on fun. It's very, very serious. But if you have children, the goal is you're so serious because you need to set them up for success. So you got to go hard, and you can't feel like you in this guilt trip of you're not necessarily having fun and doing whoop de whoop whoop. Your goal is to ensure success. And success takes hard work and dedication. And that's how it play out when it's over there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, see, yeah. See what you say? Says so 5 years in community corrections, right? So Saturn and Pisces is the same thing as that whole. So depending on the house, though, you know what I mean. It's the same thing as that whole asylums, jails, spiritual. See, this is why you gotta look at this. I say it all the time, man. Detroit Red had to go to jail, 12th house Pisces, in order to become spiritual, have a spiritual vision of this man in his cell, who he later will identify as his teacher, because the 12th house is also spirituality and visions. So what happens? Niggas go to jail and they become Muslim. That's like the standard theme. Like that is like a known phenomenon. Nigga go to jail. He starts to get a little bit more conscientious in scripture, and he just may come home a Muslim. That's a known phenomenon. Okay? Because isolation, because you're being isolated. And when you're being isolated, you have to deal with yourself now. You have to deal with yourself. So at that point, you start going inward because you recognize that shit, I'm in timeout. I have no choice but to go inward. All right. So Saturn in the 11th, TK is going to be friends, groups of people, technology, groups of people that help advance humanity. It's a humanitarian effort here. It's the Red Cross, or what group you identify with that can help people. So your groups, that's saying your network is your net worth. When you have Saturn in the 11th house, that's very true, because this is the group of people. These are friends that you're hanging around. So in social gatherings. So what's your social life like as it pertains to success? Because Saturn is success. So you got to get your circle right. Super, super dead. All right. Yeah, that's right. So Saturn in the third in Cancer, your siblings could be a source of issues, brothers and sisters. Perhaps even if you have some, and if it has been strenuous, that's because the dynamic of the relationship changed, where your brothers and sisters, you could have been a parent to one, y'all could have been parents to one another at some point in time. Saturn in the third wants you to focus on communication. You got something to say, writing, traveling, speaking. There's something to say. And I can't get past that in the third house. You got something to say. It needs to be said. If you ever thought about writing a book, a short blog, or something, you need to do it. Cancer is family. So it could be related to family issues. Or matters, rather, not necessarily yours, but helping people with family and communication, things of that nature and whatnot. And Saturn in Cancer is considered to be out of pocket too. Potentially a parent can get on your nerve, and a parent could have been a sibling. Those roles could have reversed and whatnot. But if there's some harsh aspects there, then that could be parental karma. Saturn gives y'all insight into parental karma as well. So when they say karma, everybody knows Saturn is karma, but it can start to give you some insight into, okay, what's going on with the parent that was responsible for me, that stepped up to the responsible role in a sense. All right. But third house is going to be your communication house. That's a very social house. So you want to make sure that if you got, here's a question to you. What do you have to say? Do you have ever thought about writing a book, journaling, blogging, things of that nature? That's the question. See, look, writing a book. Wow, I'm taking care of my mom. See, this is the law. This is the law of how it works. So write that book. Take care of your mom, because see, that's Cancer. It's mommy. Saturn is responsibility. Now the roles reversed. You're taking care of mom. You see what I'm saying? It's a role reversal. And it's all good. So, but yeah, write that book and do that because you got something to say. See, when we ignore these things, they cause serious problems. And it's called two things. It could be external random events that you think is random, but has everything to do with you, and you're creating misfortune on yourself. Or we can create disease because of the suppression. Saturn loves to suppress because it takes its time. So earlier in the chat, somebody was like, patience. That's Saturn, patience. But since Saturn likes to limit and hold on, it can hold on to things where it's past due. And spoiled milk in the refrigerator, throw that shit away. But Saturn is like, nope, hold. So you got to see, and that's when the Uranus aspect kicks in, and it's like, okay, all right, you don't want to? Okay, all right. Well, wait till Uranus kick in. Now this shit is gonna be it's gonna feel like it's sudden, you know. All right. Yeah, for real. Saturn and Virgo definitely could be that OCD marker too. Saturn in the 6th, anything associated with that for sure. All right. All right. So it's watching yesterday's video first before this vid makes more sense. I hope so. I hope it makes more sense. I don't know. All right. So again, Saturn is, you need to locate this planet in your own chart. You go to astro.com, it's free. Put in your birthday. Got to put in your time of birth. If you don't know your time of birth, then you're going to have to guesstimate. Ask your parents, see if they know. Look on the birth certificate, see if you can find it. If you got the time, then I want you to look at the house Saturn is in. Because where do you start to get the concept? I got you. Because that house is going to tell you where Saturn and you agree to become successful at. So where do you start to get a concept of all of this? On my website, myastrologycoach.com, go to the shop tab and hit the book. Start with this workbook called the Self-Activation Workbook. I don't have none over there. I don't. So the Self-Activation Workbook is designed for you to learn all the planet's energies, then write the planet's energy in your own words. Next, move to the signs. But the planet is a representative of the sign. So if I say Saturn, I'm really talking about Capricorn. So to me, I don't even have to explain Capricorn because I know Saturn. Same thing. This is what you got to remember to make it easy. The 10th house is ruled by Saturn and Capricorn, so it goes to that. I just got to remember the order. So it's only 12 signs. So once I know the rules for all 12, then I'm good. I'm goody. So then the last portion is your planets and houses of that self-activation workbook. You gotta answer, where is your Saturn? So literally in that book, I did it. I created it. Saturn is in Leo. So I want you to write a sentence, and I want you to underline the keyword for Saturn, the keyword for Leo, and the keyword for the second house, because Saturn is in Leo in the second house for me. So I want you to write a sentence that best explains this energy for you, that you can relate to. And I want you to underline these 3 keywords so you can get to know yourself. So I am successful, Saturn, when I'm being creative, Leo, with finances. So I can go a little deeper with that than what's creative financing? You see what I'm saying? Okay, I am successful when I can creatively share with children that they need to be on a financial game. You see what I'm saying? So now I got my keywords again and whatnot, which explains why I was able to get, I got some over there, a stack of the millionaire booklets from my mega mentor, Grant Cardone, which is to give them away to children. So I negotiated that as a part of a nonprofit, a truechange.org. In fact, if y'all need any help with back to school stuff, like you need some financial help with back to school stuff, I want you to go to a truechange.org, because there's some scholarships that you can qualify for that can help you out with back to school stuff. A truechange.org, or if you know someone, pass the information along. All right. And so to help you out to get started, you can get with my self-activation workbook. It's on myastrologycoach.com. Just go to the shop tab and you can get there. You want to really get it in, man. It's the mentorship where we can get busy and we can talk every week as fast as you want to talk, as fast as you can get the assignments done that I'm going to give you. But I work at your own pace, and I like to wrap it up in 9 months. I'm not a stickler on pressing you because I know things happen in your life and whatnot. But, let's get it done in 9 months, and you can get to that on myastrologycoach.com, and you can hit the mentorship. And within my mentorship, too, many of y'all know the great Magi Minister Jew. In this go around, he came through this incarnation. When I say go around, he came through my class. And you can look at him now. And my job is to share the platform because I'm Aquarius all day. I want to share. And I believe in the group. I believe in the collective. And so I'm definitely wanting to share. You can, if you follow us, I don't do blog talk no more because it was years ago when I was on it, but I still have it. Mama Dada, Sister Adrian is on my blog talk. She's been with me for a few years inside of the one of my private memberships that I have and whatnot. So if you go to myastrologycoach.com, you can take your time if you really want to learn it. It's a membership over there. There's also workbooks over there. There's a mentorship over there as well. You know what I mean? So that information is absolutely there for when you're ready and whatnot. All right. Yeah, so stelliums are powerful because they represent a swelling of energy. A stellium means 3 or more planets are in the same area of space and they're very tightly together. They're very close together. All right. So when you have this swelling of energy, then that sign in that house is going to be super duper activated. All right. So yeah, you're welcome. I saw your title. Did you know that Saturn and Mars? No, I didn't know Saturn and Mars have been destroyed, but I can't wait till the light of Mars physically goes out and we don't see it no more, because right now that thing is still bright. If you're talking about destroyed physically, I'm very familiar with the missing planet hypothesis that was suggested by one of the heads of the United States Navy Observatory that talks about this Earth-Mars cataclysmic event, which is the creation of our moon, which is also known as the Grand Canyon, and how that formed and Mars lost its iron core, and that's why it's red. So I'm familiar with some type of catastrophic event taking place in the asteroid belt. Used to be a planet, and it blew up. Something happened, and the pyramid in Egypt was used as an antenna to blow the planet up. I think that was very cool if they did that, and I definitely think I know I have way more than enough evidence that we should blow Mars up. Yes, we should blow Mars up. Yeah. But answer your question, I heard about that a little bit. All right. So yeah, Mars opposite Saturn, man, is a doozy. I got that. I was born with that. Mars opposite Saturn. Here's the thing. See, Mars wants to go. Mars is the young bull that wants to run down the hill and do all the cows. And Saturn is the one that says, no, young man, we're going to walk down and do all of them. We're not going to run down and do one. We ain't going to run down and do one. We're going to walk and have it all. So Saturn wants the discipline and the structure and take your time. And Saturn wants the marathon. Mars is a master of the 50-yard dash. So these two energies in nature are kind of, they're opposite, because Saturn is cold. Look at the seasons. It's cold, but when Mars is hot. So they're opposite one another in nature and expression. So when these two energies are in opposition to one another, you have to learn how to blend those two. There's going to be times where you're just not going to be able to go as fast as you want to go. And things are just going to take a little bit more time. And that's just natural. It's just the natural flow. So with you, it's just going to be a little bit more evident. And you have to learn how to balance that out and give and take inside of that cosmic flow within yourself. Because if not, then it's going to create an issue. So Saturn, again, on the health tip, is going to be your bones and chronic ailments. Then Mars is going to be blood. So you probably, let me ask you this. Do you got sickle cell trait? Or do you have any form of anemia? Who was that asked me that? Saturn opposite Mars. That was Katrina. Do you got any form of anemia? Get off that puppy, Dre. Dre, you hook me up with a Buddha ball, my blood sugar, please. So Katrina, I put the wrong. So square is cool too, because square is still a harsh aspect. You know what I'm saying? So my question is, do you have a form of anemia? See, I don't care the aspects, y'all. Opposition, square, conjunction, energy is energy. That's why I like energy. You see what I'm saying? And so energy is, Saturn is still cold, limitations, and success. Mars is still aggressiveness and let's go. So whether it's opposite, square, or conjoined, I'm adding 1 + 1. I'm going to get the same result. It don't matter. So the conjunction sometimes is worse than the opposition because the energy is up on you. A Neptune trine is easier. Like Neptune shows you deception, right? Just because Neptune don't have no harsh aspects called oppositions and squares to it, don't mean that you won't experience that per se. Just when it's a trine, it's easier for it to trick you. See, Neptune represents the energy of the trickster. So it's supposed to trick you. So yeah, put it on low though, please. It's energy supposed to do that. So I don't care about the aspects per se, because energy is energy. 1 + 1 is still going to equal what it is. You know what I mean? All right. So no anemia, but bad allergies and stomach issues. All right. So, it can, just got to add it up, man. This ain't hard, y'all. This stuff is so. So we say Lil Wayne is a Martian, came from Mars when it got destroyed, by the way. Yeah. Damn, man, Pooh. Would you say smacking it again? Contact is contact is contact, man. And so it don't matter because it's energy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like the squares and oppositions just tell me to a degree that, all right, how much hardship a person got. And I'm looking at it more on the soul level anyway, like, oh shit, what the hell did I do? Or what did you do to deserve this? And like, I'm just getting the story. But far as the energy manifesting itself, is contact. So it's going to manifest the same way. It don't matter the angle, man. It don't matter the angle. Yep. So again, remember, man, this is a 2-year goal. You need to have a 2-year goal. What is your 2-year goal? What are you going to materialize in 2 years? On Saturn, December 2020, like 2021, like when that new year come in, January 2021, like that should be like a grand celebration because you didn't acquire some shit within 2 years, man. Seriously. So wherever Saturn was at when you were born, especially that house, it wants to bring you success. You can put some flavor on it with the sign. You want to go through it real fast? Aries is going to be your self-confidence, if anything. Second house Taurus is going to be that money. Third house Gemini is going to be communications and writing that book and getting what you got to say, get it out. Fourth house is going to be more family affairs, potentially real estate as well. Fifth house is going to be your children. That's Leo. Fifth is Leo. Fourth is Cancer. Sixth house is going to be fifth house is going to be your creativity, your fun, and whatnot. Not necessarily the luckiest placement for gambling. Sixth house is your health and your job on a day-to-day basis. That's important. So your personal health and your job. What are you doing to be successful in those things? The seventh house is going to be relationships. This is Libra. So the seventh house is going to be relationships, business partnerships, and or personal relationships. The eighth house Scorpio is going to be who you loving on, who you sexing on, who you share money with. Joint finances, get your estates together. This is how you build your legacy in the eighth house. When you die, what's the setup for the next person to get to the shit? And when your parents die, especially Saturn the eighth, this can represent daddy. When daddy died, there's an issue getting to the money potentially and whatnot, but the estates and family business of the legacy needs to be taken care of. So this is succession planning when you're in the eighth house. All right. I don't know if y'all watched that show on HBO called Succession. The acting is kind of horrible, but I kind of like to watch it because it's a good business thing. All right. Ninth house Sagittarius is going to be learning philosophies and traveling the world per se. Could be a little damper there, but this is definitely a marking of a guru and somebody's going to teach you something. So you need to follow your higher wisdom, whatever it is that you want to learn. Go back to school for per se. It ain't necessarily college, but whatever you want to learn to expand yourself, then it's time for you to do that within these 2 years so you can be successful, because Saturn is a teacher, which means somewhere along the line, you're going to come back and show people how to do this shit. All right. 10th house Capricorn is obvious. This is Saturn's domain. This is going to be career. All right. You're supposed to climb the mountaintop. You are the captain. You're not the lieutenant. You're the captain. You're climbing all the way up to the top here. What's your ambition? What's your goals? All right. And the 11th house is Aquarius is going to be groups, friends, technology. If you're a crypto person, then you need to really make sure that that's going to be successful, because you got a battle in front of you right now, a big one and whatnot. But whatever it is dealing with social groups, social awareness, Red Cross, Black Panther, it's all that kind of humanity coming together for a greater cause type of thing. Your network is really your net worth with Saturn and Aquarius, Saturn in the 11th house. And when it's in Pisces, I got you on interception. When it's in Pisces, 12th house, then this is you working on spirituality. This is working on you not lying, you not deceiving, you not poisoning people. You know what I mean? This is low-key karma, because you could have abused your power in the past life for sure. So now you got to get it right. You know what I mean? But it's definitely more on the spiritual tone, music even as well. All right. So that's Saturn through all 12 and the 12 houses. I just answered all of your Saturn placements. All right. Now, interception is interesting. I'm still studying it, to be honest with you, because it doesn't. Let me explain interception, because this is probably way over people's head. Like, what the hell is an interception, right? How can I explain this? All right. So when you look at a birth chart, you're going to see houses, and each zodiac sign will fall on the house. Thank you. When it falls, so some zodiac signs though don't fall on the house. Like, for example, my first house is Cancer. My second house is Cancer. All right. So then that means I got one zodiac sign that rules two houses, which by proxy on the opposite side, that must mean my seventh house and my eighth house is Capricorn. So somewhere one of these zodiac signs did not fall on a house. Okay. It didn't. So now when that happens, An intercept, it's called intercepted. I think the interception is these energies are, I want to say hard. I'm just, for lack of a better word, I may call it a little bit more harder to manifest. They don't have a natural place to that they say, yo, I'll rule this. So they're like this free radical that could be a little scattered and cause some problems to a degree. The unique thing about it, though, is even though if the sign is intercepted, that it has a ruling planet, and that planet was somewhere. And then that planet tells you how you still can tap into the sign. You see what I'm saying? And so the interception, the verdict is a little out for me, but I do see it where it serves as this free radical in a sense. All right. I don't want to eat on camera on y'all, but Fat Boy got to eat. Fat Boy on day 2 of a healthy salad. All right. So you got one more for me? How long we been on? 9. We've been on for 1 hour and 30. I'll take one more. Happy SR Saturn return. Yeah, I like to play the I like that. I don't use even house because the universe is not even. The universe is an egg. The solar system is an egg. It's not even. 365 days is fitting in 360 degrees, right? It's an oblong circle that we're really messing with here. And so if we're going to do equal house, then we might as well throw away degrees. And why am I doing that? Because I know degrees represent something. Because this is math. So I'm not going to say, well, it's all. To me, that's just my opinion. To me, that's going to make, it's like doing numerology. I'm just going to reduce the number down, and I'm not going to deal with the fact that, this particular number means something. You know what I mean? Yeah, so Saturn and Libra, that's an exaltation. So strong relationships. But look at the house. But strong relationships, partnerships, marriage also mean karmic love, karmic partners. Saturn and Libra will absolutely denote that you could be, see, you in that early 80s generation. And so that's when Pluto is there, it could be there as well. So that can definitely denote one intense partnership that you would be in. That's going to get on your nerve, but it's going to help you transmute. It's going to help you transmute. If it don't, create some serious problems. But that's what's actually helping you transmute. All right. So Saturn and Virgo, that's the help thing. You got it, man. All right. So I just wanted to give y'all that, man. I'm about to smash this food. Saturn, man, the GOAT. The greatest of all time is Saturn. That is the GOAT. Don't be afraid of the Baphomet. Understand that the Baphomet is your success. The GOAT is within yourself. All right. It's your bones. It's your structure. This is a time where it's time to, start doing things that is good for bones too. Calcium, things like that, that strengthen the bones. Iron shirt Qigong for my Qigong practitioners and whatnot. But I really want y'all to walk away tonight with creating a solid 2-year success plan and make it a plan of action. I don't want it to be an idea. I said earlier, ideas and goals are not the same. Everybody got the idea of it would be nice to be able to be in the tropics any time of the year that I want to. It'd be nice to be rich. That's an idea. It may not be a goal. A goal is when you're working towards the idea. So I want to be clear. I want you to create a 2-year goal for yourself as it pertains to where Saturn was at when you were born and how you're going to be successful with that thing. You don't have to make it your career. You can say, I got Saturn and Leo. I may want to develop In 2 years, what do I want to give my children in 2 years? What wisdom can I give my children in 2 years? These 2 years, I want to go hard on financial well-being. So I got my son, my youngest son. I make him read to me the millionaire booklet. What's step number 1? Decide to be a millionaire. What's step number 2? Millionaire math. What's step number 3? Increase your income. What's step number 4? Who got my money? What's step number 5? What do it mean? Stay broke. What do you mean stay broke? What do that mean? It means I don't want to blow my money. It means physically I'm broke. I ain't got it on me because I'm stacking my money. Why are you saving your money? I'm saving my money to invest my money. So I make him tell me this, because within this it's important for me and understanding my placement where I'm at. Saturn in the 2nd house and Leo that's dealing with children and finances, my creativity and finances. Not only do I want to be successful, but I'm daring to take the pledge. And I did this. I typed it out, and some people in my crew, we signed it, the Millionaire's Pledge. I'm challenging you all to challenge yourself to become great. And again, it can just be in these 2 years, I want my children to say, my daddy seeded me with the financial shit. Even if he ain't give me the money, he put it in my mind and he seeded me with it. And that's one thing. I'm gonna do a show with my dad on this joint, man. Because I really owe oh yeah. So I really owe a lot to this guy because he seeded me. He seeded me. You know what I mean? Whereas Chuck, it's slavery is in the new job market. And I'm getting this information at 8, 9 years old that's seeding me that later I don't want to work for people. I'm already rebellious. But see, this is how you start to know why you pick your parents, which this is Saturn related. So I look like I ain't getting off this thing no time. This is Saturn related because now, since Saturn deals with the karma and it deals with the success and it's also a parent, you start to see why did you choose your parents? Why? What they why did you vibe to come through, as the legend have it? Why did you come through at that crown opening of your father and ride his spine when he projected into your mammy and then you swim and then found your other self, your egg, because you're both beings, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? Why did you choose them to get here? And so again, your goal it's just a 2-year goal. A 2-year goal so you can be successful in that desired area. All right. So I know what mine's is for sure. And I'm seeing this thing, super duper heavy, super duper duper heavy, because my understanding is, again, I know Saturn is the gatekeeper before you can get into the outer realms. You need to master everything before you, and you need to master where that planet is at. So create a 2-year goal plan of action of how you're going to succeed and take steps towards that, because that's what Saturn wants. It wants repetition. Black folks got it so bad because Saturn is father time. He's the lord of time and responsibility, that we created our own crap called CP time, which is cool in itself. But let's be real. We do that out of a convenience to cover up the excuse of why we're late for shit. We don't do it as a code. Hey, my nigga, meet me at CP time, and we both know exactly what you're talking about. Nah, I be mad as hell because you late. Let's keep it real. You see what I'm saying? So that we avoid that aspect of our own consciousness. I can't stand tardiness. It drives me crazy. Being late, because I'm usually I'm telling you, I'm the kind of guy, I'm first in line. That's my name. I'm first in line. If we're gonna go to roller coasters, I want to get in the front car. It's just me. You know what I mean? So Saturn's about that responsibility. All right. So walk away with that, man. Create that 2-year goal. If you want to get into this science, just go to myastrologycoach.com. I want to see which one of you who want to go through the mentorship, because I want to share my platform with you on radio. I want you to come in and take My Astrology Coach. All right. I want somebody to come in and build it and take it to the next level, because the truth of the matter is I'm somewhere else. What you're going to see, I'm over at theprosperityinvestmentgroup.com. Theprosperityinvestmentgroup.com is where I'm spending majority of my time at these days, because I sincerely want us to be financially wealthy. And for me, with Saturn in the second house that deals with finances, this real estate thing is freaking phenomenal. All right. So you can also visit that site, theprosperityinvestmentgroup.com. Click on the shop tab itself, and you can see what we have to offer over there and whatnot. And if you need me, you know how to find me. You can call me, get at me. I appreciate y'all. And I just got word my dad to be here tomorrow, so I may do something tomorrow with this cat. All right, put him on the spot. All right, he's funny as shit, man. All right, so I'll see y'all later, man. Peace.